Sarjun, Sarjun, unmute yourself. Sarjun, Sarjun, unmute yourself. We
Oh,
are not able to
sorry.
hear you. Uh,
Okay, thank you, sir. Oh, hello, everyone. It's half a minute before 12 o'clock in the Philippines Standard Time. So, good morning, fellow Filipinos. Good afternoon and good evening to the other participants who are with us for today's session from the other parts of the world. Welcome to the IGP's 211th Free International Webinar. Thank you so much for joining with us in this wonderful day. Once again, I am your host, Mr. Rian Jun P. Kualin from Aklan, Philippines, and I will be in charge for today's activity. I am a senior high school mathematics teacher of Batan Academy, a national school in the Department of Education Division of Aklan, Philippines, and it is a great honor and privilege to be in the IGP as one of the consistent webinar hosts and of course to be one of the 1,000 active members around the globe. It is my delight to welcome you all in this institution, Global Professionals Free International Webinar. I hope everyone will stay active to participate in our activities later on, especially in our IGP quiz, for you to have a chance to win a quiz e-certificate. And before we continue, you may like and comment while our webinar is going on. Please tag, share, and mention your friends in the comment box so that we can be able to share with them the knowledge that our speaker will impart to us. In this virtual world, we can watch together and learn together. The events and activities that IGP provide us, dear participants, are proofs that pandemic does not just bring challenges and difficulties in life, but also it offers a lot of opportunities to grow professionally. For the new members, let me give some backgrounds about IGP. IGP stands for Institute of Global Professionals, and it is an ISO certified education institute and has a certified trainings and webinars that is reflected in the e-certificate that each participant will receive after attending every session. It is recognized and internationally and globally accredited to more than 100 countries. IGP is a leading online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. IGP serves world communities by providing holistic social work in education to help build a world with a strong foundation of education and life skills. IGP gives opportunities accessible for every knowledge seeker to gain mastery of skills, develop personality, to become more goal oriented, to strengthen confidence in facing inner circumstances in life, and to enhance skills by inviting great speakers and professionals from other parts of the world. The organization believes that skills development is not only gained through a formal education. So IGP offers free virtual training and consultation to young professionals who are willing to learn, improve, and embrace changes. IGP organizes webinars, trainings, both offline and online courses with the best and highly trained speakers and coaches from all corners of the world to create a best learning platform for all of us, dear participants. Before we continue, again, please share, tag, comment, and mention your friends in the comment box. It is also serve as your support to our organization. Moreover, participants who will attend to this free international webinar will receive an e-certificate that you can use in the future. Today, we are presenting the 211th Free International Webinar entitled Bringing Character Education in the Classroom. And we will be enlightened by our speakers coming from the Philippines, who will be introduced later on as they deliver their speeches and lectures. Meanwhile, you can take down your questions and queries about their lectures, and later on, we will have our question and answer part where you can address it to our speakers. And now it's time to start our program. And let us start by introducing our first speaker. She is from Tanay, Rizal, Philippines. She finished Master of Arts in Teaching major in English in 2016 at the University of Rizal System and obtained her Doctor of Philosophy degree major in Educational Management in the year 2021 in the same university. She is a master teacher, too, in one of the public secondary schools where she teaches English, humanities, and social sciences and research subjects. She has also been a school paper advisor since 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Dr. Mary Grace Catuwira Talavera. Ma'am Grace, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good afternoon and good evening to everyone who are in this platform for this day's discussion. So, shall I start, sir?
Yes, ma'am, you can now share
Okay.
your screen.
Okay,
Good
so
luck.
let me now share my screen. Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay, so just for confirmation, can you see my screen now? Is my
Yes,
screen
ma'am.
visible now, sir? Okay. So, once again, good morning, everyone. And before I proceed with our discussion for this day, I and my partner, Dr. Vanessa Villas, would like to extend our appreciation to the Institute of Global Professionals for this opportunity to impart what we know to our fellow educators and other related professionals. Okay, so our topic for this day is bringing character education in the classroom. So once again, I am Mary Grace Catwira Talavera from Rizal, Philippines. Okay, so for this day session, we will define what character education is, and what are its key principles. And also, we will discuss the different
Uh,
approaches.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, open your presentation.
It's already open, sir.
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. I will try to share it again. Okay, I'll stop
Just
the share.
just open just open your PPT. Don't need to stop share.
Oh, okay. Again. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, now open your presentation and make it present slideshow. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
It's
Okay,
okay now.
proceed, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. So if there's any glitches, please just remind me so that I will be informed. Thank you. So yeah, moving on. So again, for this day, we will try to define what character education is and what are its key principles. We will also discuss the different approaches and strategies in teaching character education. And yeah, in this time that we are in, where everything is very limited, the actions, the resources, particularly in the education sector, I think it's about time that we will be reskilled and retooled in terms of how to teach character education in our classroom. Okay. So before I start, I would like to ask, what do you see in your screen? So you can just type in your comments in the in the comment box that we have. Okay, so tell me, what do you see in there, and Serene will tell me what are your comments, the what are the responses that you have given. Okay, so once again, can you tell me and can you share to me what you see in your screen right now? Okay, let's see. Serene, what responses do you see in our comment box if there are? Hello? Ayan. Are there responses? Let me see. Okay. Uh, so let's see. Um, okay. Okay, so I see answers that says hands with heart, lots of love, yes, giving hearts. There are a lot of responses. Thank you very much. You are all very responsive. Okay, so with that, let me continue. So, yeah, with all those answers that you have given, it seems like we're seeing the same thing. But you may be asking at this point, why is she asking us and why is she showing us hearts in her screen? Because her topic is all about character education. So how is it even related? So we all know that the heart icon that we have here, yeah, there are a lot of hearts here. And we know that it symbolizes love. And with love, it becomes the root of everything. Because when an individual is at her best or is at his best at expressing love, we know that positive emotions come to and fro. So it cultivates that sense of closeness and emotional support. And so you may be thinking that there is no room for love in every places, but somehow we always have to remember that when we talk about love, it's not just all about romance, because love is affection, okay? And for those who needs it, or somebody whom you want to get it, love is important. And on the point of view of our learners, sometimes that's the only thing that they need, and love. Okay, so again, why am I talking about love when we are supposed to discuss character education? So you see, when love is present to every individual, positivity surfaces, which becomes a ripple effect, right? It becomes a ripple effect because it becomes a character trait. Okay, when you cultivate love for oneself, it is linked to increased feeling of social connection, okay, optimism, and mindfulness in general. And these character traits and these traits makes up one's character. Okay, so yeah, let's move on. So in your screen is one of the most famous quotation that we can attribute to our discussion for today. And this is from Albert Einstein. So it says here, try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. So how can be a man be of value? How can be so what is value if that is the case? Okay, so a thing has value when it is perceived as good and desirable, right? Well, we say that food is of value, a house is of value, money is of value because it is good for us. Everyone would be desiring to have it. And for that to have it, for somebody to achieve those things, that would affect someone's behavior and attitude. And that when that happens, that becomes value. Okay, so values are the basis for judging what attitudes and behaviors are correct and what attitudes and behaviors are wrong. Hence the importance of building one's individual character is important. Okay, so it is through the character education that positive personality traits are developed, encouraged, and reinforced. Okay, so moving on. So let us first try to identify what character education is. So we say that character is a set of personal traits or dispositions that produce specific moral emotion, okay, inform motivation, and guide conduct. So again, we'll be going back to the thing that I was talking about earlier, the love. So there is this particular emotion that is embodied in character. Okay, and we say that in order to build this character, there must be somebody or someone to teach it. And that process, we call it character education. So with character education, it includes all explicit and implicit educational activities that help young people develop positive personal strengths that are called virtues. Okay, so the development of children's characteristic is not just an obligation of the parents. It's an obligation that we all share. Because when parents let their children go to school, they somehow share that part of obligation to the people within the school community, and particularly as teachers. Okay? While the parents are the primary educators of their children's character, there are researches that tells us that parents also want other adults around their children who have contact with them to contribute to such education, especially their children's teacher. You see, That's how big the impact of teachers like us into these young individuals. This is the reason why there are also instances, if you can still remember, if your own child or a student of yours, there are instances that a teacher will give an assignment, and then somehow that the parent is also a teacher. To whom does the child believes more? It's in the teacher, right? Oh no, my teacher tells me this. So he or she would doubt what her parent is saying. It's because that is the impact of being a teacher. Okay? That we play an important role in the character development of these young people. So the development of character is a process that requires the effort of developing individual and the society in general. Okay, so it's a give and take. It's a ripple effect that what has happened into one will be passed to another. Okay, so a society who is determined to enable its members to live well will treat character education as something to which is very important, and that will treat it as a right of every child. Okay, so a society that gives importance to character will also give importance to a child's education. Okay, particularly character education. So belonging to and actively participating in a school community is the formative experience that helps students develop, among other things, their character. And so they say that experience is the best teacher. And if you will show these young people good examples of actions, of behaviors, and attitudes from their young ages, then definitely they will follow. Okay? So that is character education. Okay? So, what then is the ultimate aim of character education? So, here it aims to develop a good sense of practical wisdom, the capacity to choose intelligently between alternatives, and it's not only to make individuals better person, but to create the social and institutional condition within which human beings can flourish. And so we say that what will make a good society are good individuals living in that society. And those individuals will start from these young people. These young people that we teach way back in our classroom. Okay? So let's move on. The key principles. So what then are the key principles of character education? So we have to remember that when we talk about character education, we're not just pertaining to perfection, right? We're not just pertaining to numbered actions of every individual just because that is what is they ought to act, right? Because that is what is right. Okay. So with character education, number one is educable. Okay, it's educable and its progress can be assessed holistically. Right, and it's definitely right. Anyone can learn different characters. Anyone can correct wrongdoings because character is educable. Okay? Character is important. It contributes to human and societal flourishing. Societal flourishing, we grow. We grow because characters of individuals will help one another to grow as well, right? So to flourish and grow is not only to be happy. Okay? It's not only about being happy. It's about fulfilling one's potential. And how do we fulfill our potential? If for ourselves as teachers, we will go back to the times when we are still learning, who fills up the potentials that we have? It's the good characters of the people around us, right? If not for the other teachers who have given us the knowledge that we have today, then who are we at this point if they are not those people who helped us? If our parents did not give us the love that we had received during our younger days, then what kind of person are we? So you see, when we talk about character, we depend on everyone around us because they help us grow as well as an individual. Okay? Next is good education is good character education. Just like what we have discussed in the quotation from Albert Einstein. Okay? What good is an education if you do not have a good character? Okay, it's because when you have a good character, you embody all the good things, the behaviors and the attitudes as an individual. Okay, next is character is largely caught, okay, through role modeling and emotional contagion. The school culture and ethos are therefore central. And as we say, okay, what individuals, especially young people, what they see adults are doing, they perceive it as something right, especially if they are not matured enough to identify what is wrong and what is right. Okay? If what they see every day are the wrong actions, the wrong language, the wrong thinking, the mindset, it will affect how they see themselves in the future. And that might affect how they become of people of character. Okay, so it's a role modeling process. Someone must have someone to look up to so that he would be able to see the good things. He would be able to identify these are the good and these are the bad. Okay, next, a school culture that enables students to satisfy their needs for positive relationships, competence, and self-determination. Yeah, when we are talking about school, we're looking at everything around the environment. It's not just about what we teach in class, it's all about who are teaching, how they are teaching, who they are collaborating with, whether it's their classmates, it's their batchmate, right? It's about the school culture. What are the norms within that school? And that particularly will have an impact to the learner's character. Okay. Next is character should also be taught. Less like what I have said earlier, character is educable. Okay, character should be taught. It's not like something that is natural that would come in, but there must be someone who should initiate it, who should show the way. Okay, direct teaching of character provides the rationale, the language, and tools in developing the character elsewhere, whether it's in school or out of school. There must be someone who will role model it, who will show how it's done, who will show that this is the good thing and this is not. Okay, so those are the key principles. Okay, so more character should be developed in partnership with parents, employers, and other community organizations. As I have said earlier, it's a collaborative effort. It's not just the parents alone because the parents can do so much within the bounds of their homes, within the bounds of their houses. But when these children, when these learners go out, it's another thing. They will be dealing with different kinds of people. They will be dealing with a different environment. And definitely, if they are not synced into one particular objective, and that is to build a strong character of positive characters of individuals, then definitely we will not be achieving that particular objective. Okay? So character education is about fairness, and each child has a right to character development. This is something that everyone must ponder about because there might be instances, and we cannot disregard the fact that there are diverse learners, whether intellectually or in their behavior or characters, right? There are those children who would be so timid, who would be so obedient, and there are those who are naughty, right? Some would be bullying. And the question is, do these children who are bullying, who are showing negative attitudes and traits, do they deserve character education? So what's the answer? The answer is definitely a big yes. A big yes because all individuals, all children has the right to a right character development. And it entails one big-hearted teacher, one big-hearted individual to provide that kind of education to these kinds of individuals as well. So it is fair that everyone, no matter what they are, what kind of individuals they have to receive character education. Okay? Positive character development empowers students and is liberating. And you know that when children, when individuals are praised, when they are appreciated, you know very well that it is reflected, that it is manifested because what they do is they do better. They do better and they aim higher when they receive such accomplishments. Okay? Good character demonstrates a readiness to learn from others. And of course, yes, definitely yes, a good character when somebody is willing to learn because that becomes a part of his individuality. Right? When someone is good, the attraction to carry over and to pass that particular character into other people, it's already there. Okay? And lastly, good character promotes democratic citizenship and autonomous decision making. When children are possessed with a strong character, they know where they are, they know what they know who they are, right? And they can decide on their own. And when they can decide on their own, no matter what the things around us or what are those factors that may affect their way of thinking, their outlook in life, it will never be hampered because they know the direction of what they wanted. Okay, they know how to make their decisions final. Okay, and so those are the key principles for character education. Now I am showing you here the framework of character. How does it develop? Okay, so from here, okay, we have here it says the obligation of character development is not just it's not just the obligation of the parents alone. It entails a collaborative effort from the parents to the teachers and the entire community and society. And so from here, okay, the center is the human person. And here it says human person as a self and as a member of the community. However, when we talk about the human person, it's multidimensional, right? So there is that distinction between the person as a self and the person as a member of the community. Oh, that's what they say, that an individual's personal life is different from her within a community. However, in reality, we have to accept the fact that these two are not distinct aspects. They're not different. Why? Because the person, as the self grows, okay, as the self grows precisely by developing his faculties in contact with the world and others in the community and by taking an active role in improving that community. Someone, an individual, cannot learn alone, cannot just grow alone by himself, right? He or she will be needing others. He or she will be needing other things around him in the environment. And so the human person is the subject of education. Okay, the human person's learning and being taught. Okay, we always learn from other people, and in return, we can also give learning and provide learning to other people. So at the same time, the human person is also the object because he is the center of the curriculum. So now we're talking about providing character education. Okay, so it doesn't mean that when we need character education, you just have to go to school so that character education will be provided. We will be going back again to this one, that development of character is not the sole responsibility of the parents alone. And for the character to be built, it entails the contribution of all the factors that or the aspects that creates the society. Okay, so character education teaches the acquisition and strengthening of virtues. Okay, so the traits and the sustained well-rounded life and the thriving society. So the schools aim to develop confident and compassionate students. So here, the framework that you have here is the framework that we use in the character education in the Department of Education in the Philippines. But if you can see, if you take a look at it, this is something that is not different from what is being used in your educational institution into your countries back there. Okay, so the only difference is that in the Philippines, we have four, okay, core behaviors. But under that, these are the specific terms that create or that makes up these core values. Okay, so as a human being, Okay? As a human being, these core values will create the individuality of a learner. So being at the center, it is the school that sees the learner as an individual and at the same time as a member of the community. So you see? And here we have makajos, okay? Or what we call the love of God. So with the love of God, and then makatao, which is the love for fellow men and others. And then we also have makabansa, okay, or the love of country. And then makakalikasan, or the love for nature. So these core values, okay, serve as guide in the teaching and learning process of the character education. So while there are different terminologies that you may use here on the first core value, okay, this core value shows that the ultimate, okay, the ultimate love for the creator. Okay, so it encompasses moral and spiritual aspects. So these two falls under the morality and spiritual, the moral and spiritual aspect of the learners. Okay, next is the makatao, or the love for fellow men and other people. Okay, so within this bound is the physical, the social, and the intellectual aspect of the individual learners. Okay? And then as for makabansa, aspects that falls under economic and political are included in this one. And then the last one, since we are living in one community, in one environment, there is also a need to bring awareness to the learners, to individuals, the love for nature. And that is what we call makakalikasan. Okay? And so that will be the end of the first part of our discussion. And so to discuss to us the second objective to attain this morning, we will be having Dr. Vanessa M. Diaz, my partner, to discuss the different approaches in teaching character education. So I will stop my presentation for a while to give way to Dr. Diaz. Okay, how to stop this? Okay. Okay. Sir Rain, will you be introducing Dr. Diaz, sir?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Talavera from the Philippines. Okay, so before we move to our next speaker, I would like to request our participants to once again please support us by sharing, tagging, and mentioning your friends in the comment section. And later, we will give the e-certificate link in the comment box. And if ever that you will face any problem, we can have instructions later on how to claim your e-certificate. Well, moving on to our next speaker. Our second speaker has been in the public school academy since 2006 as a classroom teacher. She holds a degree Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English. She completed her Master of Arts in Teaching major in English in 2016 at the University of Rizal System and obtained her Doctor of Philosophy degree major in Educational Management in 2020 in the same university. She holds the position Master Teacher 2 at Tanay Senior High School and currently teaching humanities and social sciences and research subjects. Let us now give the spotlight to our second speaker, Dr. Vanessa Marbida Diaz.
Thank you so much, sir. Allow me to share my screen first. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Thank you. Just for confirmation, sir, tell me if you can see the presentation on the screen.
Yes, ma'am, it's now on the screen.
So, good morning, fellow educators. Good morning and good evening to my fellow educators. Thank you so much, Ma'am Grace. So, from the rationale presented by my partner, Dr. Grace Talavera, it's very clear that we are character educators, and we may have different program when it comes to values education or character education, but we have one goal, and that is to help shape character of the learners we come in contact with. It's in the way we talk, the behaviors we model, the conduct we tolerate, the deeds we encourage, the expectations we communicate. Indeed, for better or for worse, we are actually doing character education. But of course, there are approaches. There are approaches and strategies that we may bring, okay, to our classroom to teach character education. The curriculum we are currently teaching is undoubtedly filled with opportunities to engage our students in thinking about character, thinking about values. Okay. So these are some of the strategies that you may apply, okay, depending on the subject matter, depending on the topic, depending on the types of learners and classroom context. Because here in the Philippines, from grade 1 to grade 10, under the K to 12 curriculum, we have a separate subject for character education. Actually, we call it as values education. But for grade 11 and 12, this what we are handling. We're handling grade 11 and grade 12. We call it senior high school. We are just integrating values education in our lessons. So allow me to continue. Okay, why is it not moving? Okay, so I am tasked to present to you the three approaches in teaching character education. So we have here inculcation, value clarification, and we also have moral development. The first approach is inculcation approach. So this approach is geared towards instilling and internalizing norms in the individual's value system. Okay, so standards or norms accepted by people are identified and passed on to the learners through modeling and other reinforcements, techniques, and instructional models. Okay, so inculcation approach can be done through examples. It could also be done through participation. So here are some of the strategies, okay, under inculcation approach. So we have here modeling, positive and negative reinforcement, and we could also use storytelling. Okay, so as character educators, okay, we cannot deny the fact that we lead by example. We model the behavior we want our students to display. Values can be abstract and difficult for young students to understand, especially from the elementary, from the preschoolers. Okay. It's very difficult for them to understand values. So we need to provide examples where values is really demonstrated, whether it's through real people, situations, fictional character or setting. At the same time, appreciating good behavior is also very important. Okay, appreciate students whenever they speak or act in a way that demonstrates good values is a good act of a teacher. Appreciation of such values will motivate our learners to learn moral values in an easy way. As teachers, we have to make an effort, okay, in teaching character education. We make effort to point out positive character role models in the history, if we are to integrate, for example, in literature, in science, and even in the arts. We could also teach our students about people or personality that they can emulate. Talk about the behavior of current world leaders, for example, sports figures, and celebrities as well. We could also have a discussion with them how life is improved with these good character traits embedded with these individuals. And that is two examples. Another way to inculcate values among our students is through participation. Okay, this may be common, but this is very effective. We could have students create songs. We could have them create poems. Kids, they love doing dramatization. This has to be used with the purpose of exposing traits, values, and character. Okay, appealing upon students' appreciation. Let our learners perform. Let our learners participate. Okay, and for sure, okay, from this participation, our students could learn. Okay, not only the skills, but they could also learn values. Okay, we could also create cooperative games, especially for the younger ones. Okay, but when we are going to have this cooperative games, we have to make sure that we focus on values inculcation than in winning prizes. So we have to take note of that. We could also collect interesting, thought-provoking quotes worthy of reflection. Like, for example, we could have a collection of quotes from Mahatma Gandhi, from Mother Teresa, and from other personalities. We could ask our students to have a discussion about these values. This way, we can inculcate values among our learners and help them internalize values among themselves. We could also identify excellent literature selections of our students that address specific character traits. Um, Even in simple activity like, are you also doing this one spelling activity? We could include character traits, we could include values on the spelling lists of our students in our spelling activity. Then we could ask our students to use these traits, use this language, or use these words, okay, in constructing sentences. Another is that we could also ask our students to write in their journals, write in their diary about their experiences in relation to values. Okay, so let me continue. Okay. Our students, they are very much interested in cartoons and comics. Students in this generation are very good. Okay, I know that you will agree they are very good when it comes to the use of technology. And I know that they will be very much interested in creating this kind of activity, creating cartoons and comics. Using the multimedia or the digital media, we can also ask them to create these things about the values they have learned or character traits we want to instill among our learners. Okay, so it will enhance the thinking skills and writing skills as well of our students. This will also help the development of their brains, as well, of course, through writing dialogues from their story, from what kind of cartoons will they suit their character. This coordination between their brains and their hands will also be developed, okay, from this simple activity. Okay, we could also integrate this. Okay, so we can't be very specific with the kind of activity that we're doing. We can integrate all this activity in any subjects. Depends on the topic that we are actually dealing with. Okay. Another one is the use of slogans. This is very popular but still very effective, I would say. Okay, so it could be integrated in class, in science class. It could also be integrated in geography class, okay, or social studies class. Okay, for example, uh, you want to um, make your students show love of the country or nationalism, then you can ask them to make a slogan about this. Okay, love for the environment, just like what Ma'am Grace or Dr. Grace said, makakalikasan. So we could also integrate the slogan activity in this particular subject. Okay, so in general, the integration of values in the different subject areas depends for its success on the teacher's creativity in making use of the situation. So it depends on the context, on the classroom context. It depends on the students. Remember that we have diverse learners. So it depends on the teacher's creativity and skills in making use of the situations to facilitate the students' values development. Another approach, another approach that we have here is the values clarification approach. So this one engages students in an active examination of their beliefs, behavior choices, and decisions, enable them to utilize this in their lives, in the society. So in this particular approach, it consists of making choices freely and thoroughly, prizing, cherishing choices made, affirming this publicly, and acting upon these choices. So this clarification, values clarification approach, this one is an innovative strategy in which individuals are motivated to reflect upon the different values and accept, okay, only those values that they actually feel are relevant for them. So every person, they need to examine, they need to analyze and clarify the values that they cherish personally without blindly following the values told by others to be important. So let's continue. So just to give you the strategies of the values clarification, we have here voting questions, unfinished sentences. We also have values continuum, ranking agree or disagree. Okay. So later we will be discussing these strategies and how are we going to implement these strategies in our own classroom. But just to give you a rationale of the values clarification approach, Abraham Maslow is the major proponent of this approach. He believed that every human being is capable of attaining self-actualization through the valuing process. And when we talk about self-actualization, it is an ongoing process of using one's innate capacities and potentials in full, creative, joyful ways. So we, in this activity, in this approach, we allow our students to make their choice freely and thoroughly. Okay, so we have here 7 criteria of the valuing process for something to be considered as value using the clarification approach in particular. um, we have here the 7 criteria of the valuing process. Number 1 is choosing freely. Number 2 is choosing from alternatives, okay, from choices. Number 3, reflecting, okay, carefully on the consequences of those alternatives. The next one is pricing or valuing. Number 5 is affirming in the public. 6, acting upon one's choices. And the last one is acting consistently. Okay, so this valuing process may be viewed as going through cognitive. We also have this affective and behavioral stages of the learners. The person perceives what is desirable and what is right, cherishes and desires what is perceived as desirable or not, then decides and acts. This process comes under the influence of the family, of course, the school, the society, and of course the whole community. Now, the purpose of this clarification approach is we can help our students, okay, honestly, honestly identify and examine their own values. We could also help students communicate openly and honestly about their values, okay, and we could also help them use both rational thinking and emotional awareness to examine their personal feelings, values, and behavior patterns. Okay, so I have here one strategy under values clarification. So we call this one as values continuum. Okay, are you familiar with this, my co-educators? I think. Okay, so in this strategy, okay, the teacher has already presented an issue. Okay, it could be a current issue. It could be actually it could be an advertisement. You could also be use advertisement as a material for your values continuum activity. You could have current issues or issues by which the students can relate. For example, looking at a classmate's quiz or test is just okay. Okay, what do you think? Okay, is the reaction? What will be the choice or okay of our students? Will they agree or disagree with this statement or issue? Okay, another issue, for example, is same-sex couples should be allowed a civil union but not a marriage. Okay, so this could be a statement, okay, to be used in this strategy. Another is that people have a moral obligation to help those who are less fortunate. Are we morally obligated to help those who are less fortunate? So we could ask that among our learners, and they could decide if they would agree and disagree. In this particular activity, extreme positions are identified, and the students are asked to stand at an appropriate point along the line according to their beliefs. The students discuss their beliefs with their classmates. Okay, provide students with the option to pass or reconsider their placement after the discussion, and we could also let them move to another position along the continuum. Okay, so again, in this particular activity, we have to draw a line. Okay, in our classroom, we could make use of a masking tape. We could make use of a chalk. Okay, to provide continuum, to provide signs, okay, on the floor, which indicates, okay, the continuum of our students, okay, represents their opinion, like if they agree of or they disagree. Okay. So in the implementation of this values continuum, so again, there are no right or wrong opinions in this particular activity. Everyone has a right to his or her opinion. So we expect that in this activity, respect will be observed. Okay. So the students here literally taken a stand on an issue or a position. Okay. So as teacher, this is our role. We have to invite our students. We have to invite our students to explain their position. Okay, we have to ask them the reasons for placing themselves in that particular point on the continuum. Okay, we can ask questions like why would you place yourself in that position on the continuum? What experiences brought you to that conclusion? Was it easy to choose the position on the continuum? Why or why not? So we let our students to have to have their choices and let them explain why. Okay? They may also change their position on the line at anything at any time during the discussion if they want to. Okay. So again, in this activity, we need to stimulate an atmosphere, okay, a classroom environment of positive acceptance. Okay, our role here is to establish an open and communicating trust. We have to show respect and concern with students' personal beliefs and values. Okay. And after the activity, okay, we have to make sure that we are going to discuss and make our students understand that there are variations when it comes to students' opinions. So it must be clear among our learners. So at the end of the activity, it is our role as teacher to discuss and make our students really understand why there are variations in students' opinions and beliefs when it comes to values. Okay. So there are other strategies, okay, that we can apply, okay, in values clarification approach. We could also have role playing, games and simulations, contrived or real value laden situations. We could also have introspection or in depth self analysis exercise, small group discussion, values grid, ranking, group dynamics, dyadic, and triadic sharing. Okay, so let's take this one, this ranking. Okay, so are you also doing ranking in your character education class? So, for example, you ask your students to think or reflect on 10 most important values, with number one being the most important value. So we could also ask them why. Okay, reflect on those values, and then we try to call our students to discuss on the meaning of these values in their lives. Okay, why do you consider these values as the most important, and why is it the least important among the values that you have written in the values ranking? So do these values guide your words and actions? If so, how? So we should also ask our students, okay, to process the values. Okay. And in connection to values ranking, we could also apply this one collage. We could also make this activity. Okay, this is like values ranking, but in the form of collage. So you could ask your students to have a collage of the things or the people they value with the use of multimedia, with the use of the digital media, and then you ask them to post it, post it in the Facebook, in your Facebook page. Okay, and of course, they must have a reflection on the collage. Okay. Another values integration that we can apply in teaching character education or values education is the speech delivery. Okay, for example, in oral communication in context subject, okay, we can also integrate values. Okay, values development. Okay, so this is actually my subject, and I ask my students to deliver a simple speech as a life coach. A life coach, we have to explain this to our students, is someone who helps people identify their goals and develop an actionable plan to achieve them. The content of the speech must be about helping the people who were affected by the recent COVID-19 pandemic. So we try to give our students time to write his or her speech delivery. Okay, and then we also give them time uh, to deliver the speech, at least 2 to 3 minute, okay, uh, speech. So they are going to deliver it and record it or video themselves, okay, recording themselves, delivering the speech they have made. And then you could also ask them to post the speech in your FB page. Actually, you could also apply this speech delivery to other subjects. Okay, you are just going to change the topic. Okay, so you are hitting two birds at the same time. So you have the skills in delivery at the same time. You can also assess, okay, their 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 knowledge, okay, the things that they have learned in values in your value subject, or in the integration of values in your particular subject. So it could also be done. It's up to you. What particular topic are you going to ask your students to do? Okay, so another approach that I have here is the moral development approach. So basically, when we talk about morality, this one is the recognition of distinction between good and evil, between right and wrong. Okay, respect for obedience and to the rules of right conduct. Okay, so it is a process of working out a sense of morality on one's social experience, the outcome of which is a preference that is considered desirable or acceptable by a referent group. Okay, so let's have the Culbridge level of moral development. Okay, so as you can see, we have here three levels: the pre-conventional, the conventional, and then the post-conventional. Okay, and then we also have the characteristics of the stage or each level. Okay, so Lawrence Kohlberg developed these three levels with six stages to reflect our progression through moral development. So these levels and stages describe how our ideas of right and wrong change as we grow. Okay, from stage 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and then 5 to 6. Okay, so during the pre-conventional level, a child a child's sense of morality is externally controlled. Okay? Children accept and believe the rules of authority figures, such as their parents, their teachers, and they judge an action based on its consequences. Okay? So we have here the punishment obedience orientation. Okay? While in the conventional level, okay, an individual's sense of morality is tied to personal and societal relationships. Children continue to accept the rules of authority figures, but this is now because they believe that this is necessary to ensure positive relationships and societal order. While in the post-conventional stage, so during this stage, a person's sense of morality is defined in terms of more abstract principles and values. People now believe that some laws are unjust and it should be changed or eliminated. Okay, let's have the first stage. Okay, so we have here the pre-conventional. Okay, so I will do what I am supposed to do in order to avoid punishment. So as the name connotes, people do not have yet the discipline or habit to conform or adapt to the conventions. They are at the learning phase. Right and wrong are associated with punishments and reward. So, okay, so to make it simple, in pre-conventional, the moral reasoning is based on the consequence result of the act and not on whether the fact is good or bad. Here, punishments and rewards dominate the sense of right and wrong. Another one is the conventional. I will do what I am supposed to do as things work out better when everyone follows the rules. Okay. As this phase of morality or moral development, people observe order in family or in society by abiding the rules and regulations conforming to conventions. The rules may not necessarily be written and are followed as tradition or from role models. Okay. So in this particular stage, okay, in this particular stage, teenagers are accepted into peer groups if they conform to what the groups have defined as a good and bad. Okay, at stage 4, because people move into a more diverse environment like school, for example, in office or even in the society in general, laws are written to maintain order. People conform to wider forms of social convention. So, moral reasoning in this particular stage is based on the conventions of norms of the society, which includes the approval of others. Recognition of values of the law and others are evident in this particular stage. And then the last stage of the moral development is the post-conventional, saying that I will do or won't do what I am supposed to do because I think or don't think it is the right thing to do. Okay, so in this particular stage, beyond merely abiding by the rules and conforming, people at the post-conventional level make deliberate efforts to do good or to become good persons. They take actions beyond what is merely expected from conformity. Okay. So in this level, moral reasoning is based on enduring or consistent principles. It's not just recognizing the law, but the principles behind what is right and what is wrong is decided by individuals based on abstract principles like justice, okay, equality, and conscience. So here are some of the strategies, okay, that we can apply when we are dealing with moral development approach. So we have here the moral dilemmas and then the case study. So we could have case study for our students to analyze, okay, the situation. Okay, so in the case study, we have to make sure that the background, the details, the specific details are all clear among our learners so that they could have a good analysis or examination of the values. Okay? So when we talk about moral dilemma, on the other hand, this one is a situation that will often involve an apparent mental conflict in which each impossible course of action will breach some binding moral principles. Okay, so we'll have example of this. Okay, so moral dilemmas episodes with small group discussion must be implemented. SGC or SGD, rather, or the small group discussion, relatively structured and argumentative, this type of approach. Okay? So these methods constitutes of confronting a moral dilemma, setting a position on a moral dilemma, testing the reason for a position on the dilemma, and reflecting on the reasons, okay, of their choices. So look at the given example here of a moral dilemma. The title is The Crying Baby. It's wartime and you're hiding in a basement with your baby and a group of other people. Enemy soldiers are outside and will be drawn to any sound. If you're found, you will all be killed. Your baby is crying and you are hiding in a basement. What will be the choice of our students? Assume that the baby is not yours. The parents are unknown and there will be no penalty for killing him. Could you be the one who mothers this baby if no one else would? Okay, so we have to make our students think, okay, considering their ethical values, their morality. Okay, so what will be the choice of our students in this moral dilemma? Another one here is the accident. So it could also be an example. Okay, you are an emergency worker that has just been called to the scene of an accident. When you arrive, you see that the car belongs to your wife. Fearing the worst, you rush over to see she is trapped in her car with another man. She sees you, and although barely conscious, she manages to mouth the words, "I'm sorry." You don't understand, but her look answers your question. The man next to her is her lover, with whom she's been having an affair. You reel back in shock, devastated by what her eyes have just told you. As you step back, the wreck in front of you comes into focus. You see your wife is seriously hurt, and she needs attention straight away. Even if she gets attention, there's a very high chance she will die. You look at the seat next to her and see her lover. She's bleeding heavily from a wound to the neck, and you need to stem the flow of blood immediately. It will only take about 5 minutes to stop, but it will mean your wife will definitely die. Now, if you tend your wife, however, the man will bleed to death despite the fact it could have been avoided. So, what will be, okay, the choice of the students? Who would you choose to work on? Is it to the lover or to the wife? So, these are just some of the moral dilemmas that we can use, okay, for our activity, okay, under the moral development. Okay, so my partner, Dr. Grace, will continue to discuss the three more approaches, okay, that we can use or that we may use in teaching character education, okay, in our classroom. So thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sir, shall I share my screen now?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Thank you. Okay, so I have the last three approaches um, for teaching character education. So let's see. So the last three approaches in teaching character education are values and value analysis, the action learning, and the transpersonal. So let me present the slideshow. Okay. So the first three had been discussed thoroughly by Dr. Bias. And for the next one, the values analysis approach. Okay. So when we talk about values analysis, it helps students use logical thinking and scientific investigation procedures in dealing with social issues, especially values education issues. Now, the topic is focused on identifying social issues, and it's not just about being able to say what they think an issue is all about and what their stand is all about. Okay, the focus of values analysis is for them to identify and to clarify their stand in an issue. Okay, using logical thinking and scientific investigation. So how does that happen? Okay, so for the theoretical basis, the individual is regarded as a rational being in the world who can attain the highest good by subordinating his feelings and passions to logic and scientific method. They have to subordinate, they have to anchor it with logic and scientific thinking. Why is it being highlighted and emphasized in this approach? It is because in the values analysis, it's not just about irrational attitude or behavior of every individual to say what they want without thinking about it, okay, thoroughly. So we are teaching values, we are teaching character to our learners for them to think about and think rationally. So it's not that they need to say things abruptly, but all that they have to share, okay, on a certain issue. And let us consider that with the existing technology today, the flooding of facts and information, whether it's verified or not, is just around the corner. And when students and when our learners are not educated as to how they are to weigh all these kinds of information, they will get lost, right? And so with values analysis, they are taught to work on these kinds of information and these kinds of situation, considering all the facts that are available, all those digits, all those figures, all those information, considering the sources. Okay, so it's not just about being able to share what they have perceived from social media or from other people. Okay, there must be fact checking. Okay, so now what is our role as a teacher? Okay, so we may have been monitoring our students since the implementation of the new normal, the distance learning, the face-to-face instruction has been eliminated or has been limited, right? And what we are left with in connecting with our students are the online technology, right? With messaging, with cell phones, with emails and messenger and other social platforms. Now, what is our role? Okay, our role as a teacher is to develop the skill. Okay, that skill in gathering and organizing facts relevant to making value judgments. And this is very timely at this point because, like what I've said, with all those information around us, especially on social media where everything is accessible and yeah, it's right there, and they cannot just directly identify whether it's validated, whether it's a fact or not, right? Are they just opinions? Are they just hearsays? So it is our role as a teacher to tell these students, to tell our learners, to scrutinize information, to validate all these sources, all this data that they have before airing their thoughts on given social issues, because that will strengthen their stand towards the issue. Okay, we also as teachers, we should assess the truth by providing supporting evidences and then evaluate the consequences. In short, our purpose as a teacher doesn't just end in handing to our students what they should know in particular learning areas. So you see, it's very basic. The competency that is provided here is to develop the skill on gathering and organizing facts. And it's just the same as what we do when we deliver our lessons in our specific learning areas. But in this case, we can integrate. we can integrate building the character of our learners by focusing on looking for information that will be of help and that is truthful to what you are talking about when we're talking about social issues. Okay, because at this point, even youngsters as young as 5 years old, they are aware of different social issues. Even in the simplest terms that they hear, it's all social issues, and they are aware of it. They know that TikTok is right there. They know that Facebook is there, and they always have something to say about it. And our role, it's not just about the teachers that we're talking about. Everybody around us can be teachers. And our role is to lead and facilitate these young individuals into coming up and directing them into gathering information logically, okay, and on the scientific way. They have to do their research before they come up with saying things, saying their opinions, and things like that. Okay, so now what are the teaching methods, or how are we going to teach using the values analysis approach? Okay, we can use individual and group studies of social problems, and then we can also ask them for library and field researches and case studies. In our case, in senior high school, this continues. Okay, they might not be aware, the learners might not be aware that they already are building their characters through the researches that they are conducting, because we have practical research as a subject, and they also have the focus group discussion, and they are not aware that they're already building their character, because through those activities they are already fact checking, they are already gathering data, and those are scientific steps into gathering information. And from there, they are already building their character, because they try to become resourceful, they try to seek for the truth, they try to they try to become fair. So all of those attitudes would have them to build their character. So those are the teaching methodologies. Okay, another one is the testing principle. We can give them test items that would focus on yeah, fact checking. What are the logical steps in acquiring information, legitimate information? We can also do analogous cases. They can be given specific cases and then try to analyze its content, and then debate as well. Okay, that's very good example, a very good technique in teaching value analysis, because once that they are able to voice out their stance and their reasonings from one another, you would be able to identify what is lacking. Are these group from the others who are amenable to one of the stand? Are they giving factual information? And if not, you as a facilitator, you as the teacher, what will you do? So that would focus on the teacher's facilitation skills. What and how will you provide all the gaps within these teaching strategies? Okay. We also have rational discussion that demands reasons and evidences. Now, please let us be reminded that when we talk about value analysis approach, we're talking about facts. We're talking about evidences. Okay, we are talking about legitimate information, and this to come up with these things is what we are to teach our learners. How are they going to acquire it in the righteous way, in the scientific and most logical way? Okay, so this is an example. Okay, so you can give them an example of a research study or a library research. You can ask them to look for a research study or a clipping from a newspaper that will prove the resiliency of the Filipinos, and from them giving the independence to choose of whatever magazine or newspaper or topic that they are to deal with. You're already leading them to, oh, what is it that is my main concern when it comes to my society? You will see that they are more interested in the economic aspect of the society, in the financial, okay, and whatever it is, the educational concern. So it will be reflected on their outputs. And you as the teacher should always give feedback after every activity. Another one is for the debate. Probably you can give them an activity like, okay, you prepare a debate on the topic, which is very timely. Violent video games should be banned. And you will see how good your students are trying to defend their stance. between this topic. Okay, you will see those who are pro the banning of video games, violent video games, would be able to come up. Will they be able to come up with logical reasons, with logical evidences? Likewise, on those who are not in favor of banning these video games, right? So from there, we are already building strong characters of our learners. Okay. Next up is the action learning approach. Earlier, I already mentioned that when we talk about learning, they say that experience is the best teacher. Okay, students, we are all as students, all of us are students in one way or another, and we are always given the theories of what are to learn. Okay, this is what you learn about character education, but you will not realize how real these theories are until you have experienced such. And that is where action learning comes in. Okay, so the very purpose of action learning is to provide students with the opportunity and chances to discover and act on their values. And then another one is to encourage students to view themselves as the personal, social, interactive beings, not fully autonomous, but members of a community or a social system. Okay, in a classroom, we as teachers would always have the idea that the learning objective, okay, the learning content shall be or must be delivered to our learners. Now, in their case, trying to assess whether what they have learned and what they have heard are correct is something of question. And how will they be able to answer that question? It's when they get to answer that. Okay, and then when they get to experience all that has been said. Okay, so it says here values are assumed to have their sources in society or in the individual, but the interaction between the person and the society. Okay, once that they get themselves within or immersed within the environment or a certain group, they would be able to earn learnings. They would be able to justify and reflect on what they have perceived theoretically are true by experience. And that is action learning. Okay, so for the theoretical basis, it's derived from a perspective that to move beyond thinking and feeling to act. Okay, meaning what has been learned must be applied. Okay, and if we in school will not give this chance and opportunity to our learners, then where and when will they act, and when will they learn from this action, right? Okay, related to the efforts of some social studies, educators emphasize community-based rather than classroom-based learning. Because as what they say, what you are experiencing inside the classroom is far beyond what is happening in reality. Okay, this is the same example that we have in senior high school because they have their work immersion. See, in their theoretical learnings, they would be given the ideas and the concepts about humanities and social sciences, but they will not be given the idea or how it is done in public service. And when they do that, when they go out in the field, okay, deal with a lot of children who doing community service, there they will be realizing, oh, this is what we were taught way back in the first semester about the different relationship with other people, with other members of the society. So you see, it's always community based. Okay, so it places more emphasis on action taking inside the classroom and outside the classroom. So from here, values are seen in the interaction between the person and the society. They are freely let go. Okay, they freely let go themselves and try to adapt and adjust to what the community has to offer to them. And it's far, far different from what they are or what they have in their classroom. Okay, so this is also a problem solving and decision making model. Because yeah, when they go outside and it's a troubleshooting like um, experience because the teachers will not be there telling them how to solve the problem, and they have to deal it on their own. So that's the beauty of action learning. Okay, they have to be on their own, they have to work independently, and they will realize and the different characters that they have in it of them will be manifested on how they will deal with the challenges that they are given to. Okay. So next, so what are the strategies? What are the ways on how we can use action learning approach? Or teaching methods includes clarification and values analysis. So basically, it's a combination of the first, the values analysis approach that I have discussed and the value clarification that was discussed by Dr. Diaz. So it's a combination, it's a collaboration of the different approaches already because they tend to analyze a given situation, and that particular situation can be a societal issue, right? It can be a societal issue, and how they would be able to deal with the challenges they encounter, with the difficulty that they experience. They would have to think logically, they would have to deal with it scientifically. And how do they do that? They have to research, they have to do interview, they have to look for information. And so that is action learning. Okay. So for the two strategies, you can use skills practice in group organization. So here we immerse students, for example, in our school, we immerse students to our partner industries related to the courses that they are enrolled in. Okay, for public service, we go collaborate with our local government unit for services. We collaborate with restaurants and hotels that we have in the community. Another is action projects or community outreach projects. And this one is more appropriate with the humanities and social sciences group because they tend to work, they get to work with the community people. The environment is really a simulation of what is happening in real life, and they get to experience, they have a glimpse, they have an overview of what is to expect, at the same time how they are to adjust to the given environment. So these are the two strategies that will be very helpful as they use the action learning approach. Okay, so these are examples of other activities or methods that they can use where we can use the action learning approach. So we have the community development program. So you see, when you work with the community, you immerse yourselves within that community, within that environment, and you become part of it. And when you become part of it, that is where the learning comes in. That is where the different characters that you are not aware of, or the learners are not aware of, will be able to realize and manifest that this is what I have and this is what I don't have. If this is what I have, this, then I have to enhance this. If this is what I do not have, then I have to develop this character. Okay. And then we have the last one, the transpersonal. Actually, with the transpersonal, this is higher in level when it comes to the approaches that we have discussed prior to this one. So the very purpose is to develop among students a higher level of consciousness and spiritual upliftment. Okay, so it underscores the process of self-discovery and the significance of self-actualization to become a fully functioning person. It is something that is personal in nature. Okay, so here are the most commonly used strategies. Number one, so the individual or the learner need not other people, need not the community members in order for him or her to develop the character in him. It's just him or himself or herself alone. Okay, so let's have the rest and relaxation exercises. So who do you deal with? It's just you alone when you rest and when you relax. Okay, so probably you might be asking, so what's the connection? The reason is that when we relax, don't we get a lot of thinking in our head? Don't we get to reflect on things that we have just said, on the things that we have just experienced, or the things that we want to do tomorrow? That's the benefit of having a rest and a relaxation. It tends to condition our minds. It gives us the chance to reflect on ourselves. Okay, next is meditation and brief fantasizing imagination. It's just the same with the rest and relaxation. We get to have self talk with our own selves, right? We get to ask common questions with ourselves and try to assess ourselves if we can answer those questions. See, when we meditate, we try to reach the peak of serenity, of trying to get calm amidst all the difficulties that we have on a particular time. See? And then creativity and mindset. Sometimes with the diversity of individuals, we have our own ways of adapting to our environment and to our self experiences as well. Some of us gets relaxed and rested when we draw, right? If you're an artist, or if we write stories or novels, or if we play games, video games. So these are acceptable strategies as well. And then the last one is the self-awareness activities. Okay, we can look for or watch videos or anything that will stimulate our self-awareness, and these are the most commonly used strategies. So we just have to remember that when we talk about transpersonal, from the word personal, okay, it's about communicating with yourself alone. Okay. So I would just like to touch this one, since we are in the 21st century learning, and we have 21st century learners. Here are some of the multimedia tools that we can also consider in teaching character education. And I think that at this point, these are very useful. And if not for 100% of our participants today are using some of this. Okay, so when we talk about multimedia, is the use of computers to present text, graphics, video, animation, sound in any integrated way. So anything that has something to do with computer is called multimedia, and it's a combination of several media, a sound and full motion video in computer application, whether it's as small as a matchbox, as big as a laptop or a TV, so long that it has program, then we are using multimedia. Okay, we also have these what we call learners of ours. We call them screen agers. So it's a combination of teenagers who are online and who are always looking at the screen. Okay, so sometimes students are more comfortable now, okay, being on screen, unlike what we had in the previous school year, that students would be very timid and shy, okay, exposing themselves in the screen when you do online sessions. But here at this school year, they are more relaxed and more comfortable in having online sessions and having their discussions with their teachers with their camera on. So those are our screen agers. So it's just so sad that it's just for teenagers. How about those in the 20s? Okay, just kidding. How about us? Okay, so just kidding. Anyone who are online and is always on looking at the screen. So we are all screen agers. Okay, so how do teens use digital media? There are a lot. There are a lot of ways that they are using digital media. They use it for socializing. Okay, they have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all. They also use it for gaming. Okay, and there are a lot of sites that utilize gaming as a form of multimedia or digital media. Okay, another is visiting virtual worlds. We use it for texting, for creating. We create short films, we create TikTok videos, we create vlogs in YouTube, and we also use it for downloading information, movies, songs that we want. Okay, so indeed, digital media is right there, and digital media is the life that supports our situation today. Okay, so since success with technology depends largely upon critical thinking and reflection, even as teachers with relatively little technological skill can provide useful instruction. We cannot just let ourselves be left behind with our students advanced by 10 leaps. Okay, so we have to work out on that so that we would be able to provide them with useful instruction that will help them in building their character. And I think I have to reiterate that when we talk about teaching character education, the most important thing that a teacher must do is to always facilitate the process. And when you facilitate the process, you provide feedback, you provide suggestions and comments. However, you have to think of what could be the very best way in order for me to be understood by my learners, since we are dealing with diverse learners. So we always have to keep that in mind. Okay, so this has been discussed already by Dr. Diaz a while ago, so I'm skipping this one. Okay, so this one, we are already aware of different vlogs and the channels in YouTube, and these are also important. These are also um, new ways in how we can extend our teaching methodologies, our teaching practices to our learners. Ano? Okay, an audio podcast is also there. Okay, so when you visit different music links, you will be able to see that, and those are some of the ways that you can extend your classroom and in teaching your character education. Okay, so I think that would be all. So with that, I will be leaving you together with my partner, Dr. Vanessa Villas, this quote from Martin Luther King Jr., which says, intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Okay, so with that, maraming salamat po. So yeah, as a teacher from
Okay.
Rizal, Philippines, we're leaving you with the best proof of learning is teaching. Once again, maraming salamat po.
Okay. Okay. Wow. It was a comprehensive and informative presentation coming from Dr. Talavera and Dr. BS. So for this year, I have virtual applause from our participants. Thank you so much, Dr. Talavera and Dr. Pias, for sharing with us your very valuable time and, of course, your knowledge and expertise in teaching character education to the learners. I am very sure that our audience have truly benefit to the insights that you both have imparted with us. We may have different takeaways, but personally, what I have learned are the following. Okay, Dr. Talavera and Dr. Bias. So, here are my takeaways for today's session. It is through character education that positive traits are developed and reinforced. Okay, another is the development of children's character is an obligation of everyone or an obligation of whole society in general, and not only the obligation of the parents. The best teaching, character education, is to show children the good values and actions in actual situations. And of course, um, I want to share also what our speakers shared, the key principles in teaching character education, which are the following. Number one, character is educable. Character is important. Good education is good character education. Character is caught through role modeling. A school culture that enables students to satisfy their needs, and character should be taught. Okay, and another one is that an individual cannot grow alone. Now, this is very true. And that is why people learn from other people. But of course, this learning is not only coming from a formal education or by just having teacher and student set up. But of course, in even in the public places, we can be able to, our students can be able to learn from other people. Okay? Then, a human person or the children are at the center of the character education. Okay. Another one is that there's a lot of strategies in teaching character education, and I think we are already doing now as teachers. We are already doing some of these strategies, but I really realized that there's a lot of things that I should learn. And thank you so much for our speakers for today. And of course, in today's session, I have realized that teachers really play a vital role in the character development or in the character education. So, excuse me, it must be integrated in an, if all, but most of the subjects in the curriculum. Okay, and of course, teaching the 21st century learners, uh, teachers must also adapt. So we are not already teaching the students the same as how we were educated. So teachers nowadays must be flexible. So thank you so much for sharing with us the different strategies in teaching character education by utilization of the multimedia tools, the digital media, and the social media tools. Okay, so to Dr. Talavera and to Dr. BS, please stay with us, Mom, because later we will have our question and answer part regarding about the topic that you discussed. We will give our participants opportunity to learn by asking questions from you. Okay, so let us now proceed to the quiz competition. So we are encouraging everyone. Okay, so we would like to, again, we are inviting our participants to please join using the link that is posted in the comment section, or you can be able to open the our quiz website, www.slido.com, and you can use the code all caps IGP quiz. There will be uh, e-certificates that will be given to the top 10 participants. So far, we have 50 participants who are joining our quiz. And now we have 88. The number is increasing. Again, our certificates will be given to the top 10 participants. You can join the quiz by clicking the link on the comment box or by directly browsing www.slido.com, and you can use the code all caps IGP quiz. Okay, the names are posted on the screen for those who are already in the quiz. Okay, for the moment we can start our quiz. So far we have 106 participants. Okay, for the first question, values education as a part of the school curriculum is the process by which values, attitudes, and habits are formed as the learner interacts with his environment under the guidance of the teacher. True or false? Wow, 100% of the participants selected true, and they got the correct answer. And for the leaderboard, we have Dennis Ginto for the first on the first list. The goal of the values education program is to provide and promote values education at the selected levels of educational system. Is it true or false? Okay, there are 55 and 45. And the correct answer is false. And 45% of our participants got the correct answer. Okay, we have on the number one, we have Rosler Kabasag. Number two is Ian. Okay, next, in the learning process, the values must be translated from the abstract into the practical. Values such as discipline and concern for the poor are ineffective unless they are internalized and translated into actions. True or false? Okay, there are 86% of the participants who got the correct answer. The correct answer is true. And we still have Rosler on the number one spot. What specific strategies under experiential approach can be used in teaching values at the classroom level? Inculcation, action learning, value analysis, all of the above. Okay, 86% choose all of the above. Let's see who get the correct answer. Okay, and 86% got the correct answer. 86% of the participants. Okay, we still have Rosler Kabasag on the number one spot. This strategy provides opportunities for learner to act on their values. The assumption here is that values education is not confined to the classroom, but extends to experiential learning in the community. Action learning, value analysis. Okay, the correct answer is action learning, and there are 73% got of the participants got the correct answer. Okay, we still have Russell Kabasag on the number one spot. What core value teaches and develops learners to be morally and spiritually abiding people? Love of nature, love of God. Okay, 13% versus 87%. And 87% of the participants got the correct answer. Okay, next question. Developing the sensitivity to individual social and cultural differences is part of what core value in the character education? Love for fellow men or others? Okay, 27% versus 73%. And 73% of our participants got the correct answer. Next, it is also important to demonstrate one's pride of citizenship, likewise, exercising their rights and responsibilities. This is love of God or love of country. Let's see who will get the correct answer. Okay, 100% of the participants choose love of the country, and they all got correct. In teaching values education, it is correct to stimulate a classroom environment of positive acceptance. True or false? Okay, 99% choose true. Let's see. Okay, 99% of the participants got the correct answer. We have at all times respect and concern on the student's personal beliefs and values must be observed. True or false? Let's see. Okay. And 97% of the participants got the correct answer. So let's see who's on the top. Okay, so you can see on the screen the top five of our quiz for today. So congratulations to our top 10. Okay, on the top one we have Ian Jai S. Manalo. Number two, Rosella T. Cabasag. Number three, Evelyn P. Waperi. Number four, Princess May P. Dison. In number five, we have Ida Ramirez Martinez. Okay, on number six, we have Chari Mayuga. Number seven, Ardelin V. Magbanwa. Number eight, Leoncia R. Sumikad. Number nine, JV Ginto. And number 10, Joel A. Bernasor. Congratulations! You deserve an e-certificate coming from. Okay, we also have a top 22, sorry, because they all got a perfect score, 10 over 10. Okay, so we have 22 participants who got a perfect score. Okay, so once again, congratulations. And for the non-winners, just keep joining to our quiz, keep joining to our session, and later on, maybe the time will come that you will also be garnered as our winner for the IGP quiz. Okay, so let us now proceed to the question and answer portion. So we would like to invite our dear participants to please address your questions to our speakers by typing on the comment section the name of the speaker that you want to ask about and then followed by the question. Okay. Hello once again, Dr. Talavera and Dr. BS. Okay, so let's start from our first participant. For both speakers, which do you think address the challenges in education, technology of teaching students, resilience, and self-sufficiency, and why? Okay, So let's start from Dr. Talavera.
Okay, so which do you think address the challenges in education? Technology of teaching students resilience and self-sufficiency, and why? So I think that uh, among the approaches, which do you think address the challenges? Okay, so among the approaches that we have, I think that the action learning approach addresses that particular challenges in education because of the things that challenges the students or the learners find challenging at this point is that they do not get to experience what was experienced during the face-to-face instruction, and when that happens, that limits the realization of their learning. So if ever that they will be given the chance to be give to experience again the face-to-face instruction, then probably um, the learning that they have in the online session, in the distance learning, will be more concretized using the experiences that they will gain comes that are given the chance to be immersed in the particular learning setting that they have during the face-to-face instruction. Moreover, the value analysis approach is also one of the approaches that I think would be able to address the challenges in education, since the very focus of values analysis approach is for them to identify the social issues which affects them as a learner and as an individual. And for the learners being able to identify those social concerns, they know exactly that there is a part in them that contributes to that particular social issue. And being able to reason out and come up with valid reasons on why this social issue is happening would also make students realize the characters that they have, the potentials that they have, which will help them to overcome these particular challenges. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. That question is from Manolita Ramas Ligo. So I think Dr. BS
Okay,
has in
so
trouble with her internet connection.
can you hear
Okay,
me,
Dr.
sir?
BS?
Yes, can you
Yes,
hear me,
ma'am.
sir? Yeah, and so for the
Yes,
question,
ma'am.
which do you think address the challenges in education, technology of teaching students resilience and self-sufficiency, and why? Um, it's been said by Dr. Talavera that it could be through values analysis approach, which is also, I agree. I agree that it could be through this approach because the students could really contemplate, could really reflect on what is really happening in the environment. And through this values analysis, they could do an action. Okay, they can make some actions about these challenges. Okay, so yeah, it could be in values analysis approach, but it could also be through community action. For me, it could also be through community action because students could also explore, no? Students could also help through this platform. Okay, so I think both values analysis and action learning or community learning could be could address the challenges in education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. BS. Another question is from Az Asad. How can I arrange a character education session by myself with my community? Would I need some permission or procedures?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so Dr.
definitely.
Talavera. Dr. Talavera, I think you are muted.
Yeah, so sorry.
Okay.
So definitely, sir, you can have an character education session within your community, and yes, you would be needing permission and procedure. So how would you do that? You have to connect with your community members. You have to go to the smallest unit of the community where you want to work with. Like for example, here in the Philippines, we call it barangay, and you have to have a ready proposal for the authorities to be able to understand what is it that you want to be done and how will it be helpful in the community as well. So yeah, that's how you can do it. You have to prepare for your project proposal. Included there are your objectives. How are you going to implement it? What are your reasons? What are your reasons in planning to do that? And how will you be able to how will you be able to conduct it? And then at the same time, you have to make them understand that how will it be beneficial to that particular community. Thank you.
Okay. So another question is from Mirasol Silaga. To both speakers, in bringing character education, do you consider cultural background has also influence for learners' character building? If so, what is the role of educators for learners' character building with regard to cultural background? Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dr. BS,
Yes. So
can you
yes,
go first?
in
Thank
bringing
you.
character education, do you consider cultural background? Definitely, cultural background is really very important and an important consideration. Okay. Yes, it could influence learners' character building. So as teachers, we have to make sure that we know our students, uh, we know their backgrounds, okay, so that we can make strategies, or we can make actions on how to deal with these types of students. As we all know, we have diverse students. These diverse students could came from different cultural background, and our role as educators is to embrace. We have no other choice but to embrace them. Yes, we are promoting inclusive education where um, we are not going to discriminate whatever culture they are. Okay, so we need to make an effort, okay, to make sure that all our students will have an equal. Okay, yeah, quality is very important, even in teaching character education. Thank you.
Dr. Talavera, do you want to add something?
Oh yeah. Actually, Dr. Dr. BS has already explained it well. But in terms of cultural background, that could be one of the very hard challenges that a learner might experience in the learning process, because if they are not given fair treatment and fair chances within the school bound, how would they be able to build that confidence? How would they be able to build that character that we are aiming for as facilitators, as teachers in the school community? So yes, it's very important that they would feel the inclusivity. They would feel that they have the equal opportunity among others, because like for example, here in the Philippines, we have really diverse learners, and with that, the Department of Education has its program of inclusive education, wherein we provide um, special programs which are designed particularly to this kind of learners that we have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Talavera. Let's have another question that coming from Lancia Sumiked. For both speakers, what special intervention programs should be implemented in the academe to promote character development of students, to enhance social skills, and to foster their leadership skills? Wow, it's a good question. So let's start from Dr. Talavera. Hello, ma'am. I think you are muted.
Yeah. And so see,
Okay.
yeah, just like what I'm saying, I think I cannot directly say that this is a special air intervention program that should be implemented, because in one way or another, whenever we propose activities or programs in our respective school, we always make it a point that character development is included within those projects already. So I think the better way to do it is to somehow try to monitor how are the feedback of that particular those particular programs or activities, and see whether the characters that we are aiming to develop are manifested on the outputs that on the were manifested on the outputs after the conduct of such programs or activities. So I think it's basically more on the focus on the process, on whether we are giving special time or opportunity into giving that particular skills or character building time to be developed among all our learners within the process of that particular activities.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Talavera. Dr. BS, do you want to add something?
Just the same, I cannot really give a specific intervention program because it's really hard to think an intervention program on the spot. But yeah, definitely it's more of character building. It could be character building activity by which the focus is more on yeah the process, the monitoring and evaluation of the intervention being implemented. I agree. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. We have another question from Maria Teresa Yambao. To both speakers, what can you say about dropouts and those who committed suicide in connection with character education? Okay. Dr. Talavera?
Yeah. Um, Within the span of my teaching career, I think this would be the one of the saddest instances in the journey, because whether or not we like it, there are still a lot of struggles that an individual learner experiences all throughout his life. And with the condition that we have, with the situation that we have at this point, since last year, we really had students who dropped out because of a lot of factors.
Yeah.
And we also had students who committed suicide, who lost their mental state. And those are just so sad to realize. And that is where character education really comes in, how important it is, and how important the collaborative effort of the community must be instilled. It's not just about the parents being able to guide their students, their children at home, because when they go home, especially in the distance learning, there are a lot of students who complains that their parents are not that well educated, who can give them guidance as they deal with their modules, as they deal with their lessons at home. They do not have well educated sisters and other family members, and then they have to go out. But when they go out and they have to look for other resources, they have limited financial resources as well. So those are the limitations, those are the challenges that our learners are struggling at this point. And I think that with character education, we will still go back to, it should be and it must be a collaborative effort within the bounds of the home, the school, and the community. And everyone must find their way on how everyone should do their share so that this won't happen to all our learners. Thank you.
Okay. So very well said, Dr. Talavera. Dr. BS, do you want to add something?
Okay, so I think it's well said by Ma'am Grace. So no
Okay.
more
Thank you so
additional.
much. Okay. Okay, I can relate to that question also. And thank you so much, Dr. Talavera. We have another question is from Georgette Nick Dow. Do you think it is important to include the GMRC subject in the curriculum, or is it just an additional units? Uh, Dr.
Do you
BS?
think is it okay? Do you think it is important to include the GMRC subject in the curriculum, or it's just an additional units? Actually, in the K to 12 curriculum, we actually have particular subject um, in which character education is taught. Okay. Yeah, I remember GMRC. It was already deleted in the curriculum, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Talavera. Um, my personal view on this is that yes, it's very important to include GMRC subject in the curriculum. Okay, because we cannot deny that this is really the foundation, especially of our elementary students. GMRC is for elementary from grade 1 to 6. So yeah, I would say yes that it should be included for for us for a strong character development among our learners.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. BS. Dr. Talavera, do you want to add something?
Yeah, and
Go
apart
ahead.
from the inclusion of GMRC in the curriculum, we also have to consider the very role of teachers, the important role of teachers that we play that biggest part. Whether or not it's included in the curriculum, it's up to the teachers on how he or she will handle character development among the learners. Because if even if the GMRC is included in our curriculum and it's the teacher who lacks the focus into the processing of that particular learning area, then definitely it will be futile still. So the key is
Okay.
in the teachers. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is not enough that the inclusion of GMRC in the curriculum, but also teachers must also be equipped with, of course,
Yeah.
the different strategies that you were able to discuss today. Okay, so I think that was our last question. So thank you so much once again, Dr.
Thank
Talavera and Dr.
you.
BS from Tanay Rizal,
Thank you
Philippines.
po.
Thank you for sharing with us your expertise, your
Thank you
knowledge, and
po.
of course your time with our participants for today. Okay, so for further announcement, we have our first webinar series program, which is composed of 5 parts. We have the topic authentic assessment in teaching and learning. We have part one that it was already conducted last October 1, part two on October 4, and part three, October 7, and part four on October 10, and that is today. Later this evening session, and part 5 will be on October 26. Okay, our second webinar series program is composed of 4 parts. The topic is all about teaching English as a foreign language and assessment. Part 1 was conducted already last October 2, part 2 last October 6, and part 3 will be on October 20, and part 4 will be on October 24. Our third webinar series program is composed of 5 parts, which is about digital classroom engagement tools. The part 1 will start on October 11, that will be tomorrow. Part 2 will be on October 12, part 3 will be on October 13, part 4 on October 14, and part 5 on October 15. Our fourth webinar series program, composed of 5 parts, will be is all about the new trends in education. And it will start on November 1, part 2 will start on November 7, part 3 will be on November 12, part 4 will be on November 20, and part 5 on November 28. Our fifth webinar series program is composed of 5 parts. The topic is all about organizational leadership and managerial skills. Part 1 will be on November 8, Part 2 on November 15, Part 3 on November 22, Part 4 on November 25, Part 5 will be on November 30. Our sixth webinar series program is composed of 5 parts also, which is all about trends and innovation in mathematics education. Okay, I will wait for this session. Part 1 will be on December 12, Part 2 will be on December 13, Part 3 on December 14, Part 4 on December 15, and Part 5 on December 16. Webinar series certificates. For webinar series certificate, you have to attend, or you must attend all the parts of the series. Okay, so the steps in the certification process. Okay, important note, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you can't do anything functionally. So it is very important that you have to make an account in our website to enjoy a lot of benefits. You can join our all live programs from Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube channel, and the website. If anyone missed any program due to some unavoidable issues, still you can attend previous webinars. Okay, so we are still waiting for the code for today's webinar. Okay, so once again, thank you so much to our guest speakers and to our pleasing viewers. Don't forget to collect your e-certificate from our website or by the link mentioned below after this session. Before we end, let me acknowledge my alluring warm identities who was so patient and attentive throughout the session. To our listeners, I am so grateful for all of you in taking part of today's session. I am confident and positive that you might have gained, learned something new today which you can be utilized in your life or your career or in your professional growth. My worthy viewers, I would now request you all to please leave a review of today's session and also recommend our page if you have learned something from us today. Also, may we request to those beautiful onlookers to spread the information to your friends and community about IGP. I repeat again, please do not forget to collect your e-certificate from our website by clicking the link below after the session. After collecting the e-certificate, don't forget to celebrate with IGP by checking in. By your checking in, you can be able to understand our services, your attachment, and pleasure. We hope to see you all again in the upcoming webinar. But before we end, let me have this short narration. Do not let this pandemic hinder your success to grow, and never allow it to stop you from achieving your dreams in life. Okay, so let's go back to the steps in processing your certificates. We have step one is you have to go to our website and then look for today's program name, Bringing Character Education in Classroom, dated October 10. Again, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. Step two is to go to the certification link. Okay, we have the certification link available in the comment box or in the pinned comment section. Certification link will be available always in this program post, Facebook page, Facebook group, or description. Okay, next, you can claim your certificate in two ways. First is the direct link from the comment box or the pinned comment or post description. If you're not able to click this link, please directly browse www.eduigp.com for all information together. Find today's program, then the process are the same. For the step 3, browse www.eduigp.com or given link. You will redirect in this page of our website. Okay, as what you can see on the screen, you can click enroll now. You go first to the YouTube link. Okay, if you are new, create your account. If you have an account, then log in directly. After that, find the seminar title and get enrolled. Without an account on our website, you can visit, but you can't do anything functionally. So if I were you, better have an account to enjoy the benefits that IGP offers to each of us. Okay, the most awaited part for today's session is to have this code. Today's program name, Bringing Character Education in the Classroom. The code is all caps IGP 7545. Always remember that without the code, no one is eligible for any certificate. So you may now write the code in a piece of paper. You can take the screenshot or you can take a picture on your screen. Again, the code is all cops IGP 7545. With code, you can claim your certificates anytime. Okay? Just write it down or you take a screenshot or you take a photo of the code. Okay. So with the code, click get your certificate and then you write or you encode the required code, which is all caps IGP 7545, as what you are seeing on your screen. And of course, after encoding the code, you can now receive your certificate. As what you can see on the screen, you will see you will see your name on the downloaded certificate. Again, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. So please have an account now to enjoy the benefits that IGP offers to us. So our free international webinar certificate is auto downloadable in PDF file. You don't need to download it manually. Dear participants, if any problem raised to claim your certificate or any other issues, please don't hesitate to contact us. Our core team members are always ready in comment section to support you to find solutions. Okay, we have the IGP Community Facilitating Officials, Facebook page, Charis Abejo Cabiros, and Janet Cablao. For the Facebook group, we have Charlene Yamaguchi. Jonas Malingin, and Alonso Warren Caryaga. For the YouTube channel, we have Kelvin Linatok, Joel Danoog, and Jeffrey Sayag. Okay, for we have the upcoming webinar on October 11, 2021. We have digital classroom engagement tools with the Ed Puzzle, and we have a speaker from the Philippines. On October 12, digital classroom engagement tools with Kotobi. We have speaker also from the Philippines. We have Norman Lanas. On October 13, digital classroom engagement tools with Google Sites evening session from the Philippines, a speaker from the Philippines. On October 14, we have digital classroom engagement tools with Wakelet, another speaker from the Philippines. On October 15, evening session, digital classroom engagement tools overview, we have three speakers from the Philippines. On October 16, 2021 evening session, we have artificial intelligence in education. We have speaker Sajaimon Tekel Joseph. On October 17, we have innovation strategies in the new normal. We have speakers from the Philippines. On October 17, evening session, Becoming by Overcoming. We have speakers from United States. Okay, we have three speakers from the United States. On October 18, Personality Traits and Technology Acceptance. We have speakers from Pakistan, and it will be conducted in the evening session. On October 19, 2021 evening session, we have Subconscious Mind and Success. We have two speakers, one from the Philippines and one from India. On October 20, 2021, we have Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment Part 3. And we have two speakers from Indonesia, and it will be conducted in the evening session. On October 21 evening session, Developing Your Vision and Goals. We have speakers from three different countries, from Pakistan, from South Africa, and from Bangladesh. On October 23, 2021 evening session, Inspiration and Motivation to Learn New Skills. We have two speakers from Croatia. On October 24, 2021, 21st Century Teaching and Learning Demystified morning session, and we have speakers from Indonesia. On October 24, 2021 evening session, Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment Part 4, and we have two speakers from Indonesia. On October 25, 2021 evening session, The Process to be a TVET Trainer, and we have a speaker from the Philippines. Okay, again, don't forget the code for today's session, Bringing Character Education in Classroom, is all caps IGP 7545. You can now take a screenshot, or you can write it down in a piece of paper, and you can download your certificate anytime. Okay, so thank you so much, our dear participants, for being with us until the end of this session. Remember that pandemic is not only about challenges and difficulties, but it is also through pandemic that we were not able to interact physically, but it is uh, when we were able to learn how to utilize different learning platforms to connect and communicate with great people in the whole world, of course, through IGP webinars. And take note, it's for free. There are many things to be thankful for. And thank you so much, IGP, and thank you so much to our dear participants for your support. Stay happy and stay safe. Once again, from Auckland, Philippines, I am your host, Mr. Rian Jun P. Qualing, signing off.